am Keith Andrew, along here with my friend Cassandra Hepburn. I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Thank you, Andrew, for having me, and I'm glad to be your friend. This is great. I'm looking forward to watching your shows.
Now, starting off, I make this announcement for all my episodes. For people who don't know what uncensored is, uncensored, it's my way to show people that even with a learning disability, I can still overcome controversy and reach my goals in life, and at the same time, turning myself into a perfect example for people out there deaf, blind, or in a wheelchair, that you should never label yourself and should never give up on your goals. If you're very passionate about what you want to do, you should go and show people that you can still amount to something.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. I've always been a huge advocate of people who are dreamers, but not just dreamers, but actual doers. People who actually go and pursue their dreams. And whatever it is, there's no limits. I mean, you are, for me, I don't think the body is limited. I think that because we are a spirit, therefore we have control of our bodies. We have control of what our destiny is. And what you focus on, you will get. And so that's why there's that verse, I don't remember, I believe it's in the Bible. It goes, take every thought captive, because your thought is what defines you. And that's really important to really grasp, because once you realize your thoughts and what that really means for you, you can turn it around to actually help you achieve and prosper in life. You know? So I completely agree with that, with what you're doing. I'm a huge advocate of it. I'm also a huge advocate of human rights issues, and so that's why I've traveled the world doing that, because I believe everyone has the right to live, to have a dream, to pursue their dreams, and to just have a voice. Especially now with the internet, it's so much more global. So much more global. I mean, that's how we met, right?
Yep.
But there you go. You were able to access me through the internet, and that's what I mean by nowadays, no one is limited. Everyone has access, but you have to also be discerning in those access, you know what I mean, and the people that you're around, because the people you are around with are the people that you tend to absorb in character. So I try to surround myself with positive people who are inspirational, who have a phenomenal story. Not to say that I don't go outside of the box. I mean, I still go to help others that are broken. Like, I go feed the homeless. I go to missions trips to developing countries like the Philippines, Burma, Thailand, Cambodia, Guatemala, Ethiopia, Uganda, those places. So, but I'm there to send a message of hope. I'm there to send a message that if you trust and have faith in yourself and in God, then everything will work out just fine.
Yeah,
it always does.
I agree with you. Yeah, that's don't mind me. I'm just trying to get the camera focused.
Oh, okay. No worries. I'm a little animated, I guess. I move a lot.
And I agree with you when you mention the internet. My parents say the best thing and the worst thing ever created was the internet. They said,
Amen.
You agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with them, because it's both good and bad. Because it can be, with power comes responsibility, and some people don't know how to utilize that, and so they abuse it. So you have to just be very wary and discerning with the internet as well, because there's people who will put up stuff that are complete faults and lies, and that's where discernment has to be such a huge part of your life, where you can discern what is true and what is not for you.
No, that's right. For a perfect example, there's a couple of people on LinkedIn that I tried talking to, and I found out hard way that, they weren't really who they said they were, or they were pretending to be someone else, or they're saying, oh, they're 25 when they were 17, and it's like, it's people like that ruin things for everyone else.
Yeah, that happens though, but that's, again, we're all human. We all make mistakes. We all sin, but at the same time, there's grace. And I think that you got to give people a little bit of slack. People will be who they are, but you get to choose who you want to spend your time with. You get to choose who you want to talk to. You get to choose if you want to even communicate with those people. But that's your responsibility as well, and that's where it's like, you can't really blame them for who they are if you're going to condone it by communicating with them or whatever. You know what I mean?
I agree. Hey, so starting off, what can you tell me about yourself?
What can I tell you about myself? Well, I'm an actress and a huge humanitarian and activist. I'm all about human rights issues. I believe in freedom and equality for all human beings. That's just who I am. I don't know. And I'm passionate about people, and I love people, and I love life.
All right, what about...
And I love God. That's important. God is really important in my life. And what's funny is that I was an atheist. I really was. And 9 months ago, I finally got saved, and I encountered God for the first time in my life. That was a powerful experience for me.
You want to hear, it is called uncensored, so you can curse if you want to.
Uh-huh.
So, you want to hear a fucked up dream that I had?
What?
I had a dream I was in Japan. And you probably know where this is going. You're not stereotyping Japanese people or anything. But I was in Japan, and I met this girl, and I wanted to marry her. And I brought her from Japan back to America. Unfortunately, that angered Godzilla. And so Godzilla was coming over to America to destroy, and he was all upset. And it's like, oh, the only way we can make him feel better if it's to make, to sing to him. So, and everyone started to sing, and I was like, It's like, no, you really have to sing, or he's got to destroy everything. So I said, okay, fine. And so I started to sing. He was starting to bounce around and get happy. And next thing you know, he turns into God. And this big guy, jacked muscles, with a long beard. And he's like, I'm proud of you. You overcame your fears of singing in public. And he said to me, things will be fine for you. I said to him,
so do you sing?
Huh?
So do you sing then?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh, sometimes a little bit. And before God disappeared, I said, can I ask you something? He's like, oh, what's that? What's heaven like? Meh, it's nice.
That's awesome. Wow, your dreams are so vivid. That's awesome.
It's it comes and it goes. Some things I remember, some things I don't. But
I understand. But that one sounds like a really important one for you, since you remembered every detail.
What about you?
That's good.
How did you see God?
How did I find God? One day I just prayed because I was just frustrated and fed up with what was happening in my life at one point. And I just said, are you real? Is there really such a thing? And if you are, I'm here. I'm open. Show yourself. That was that simple. And then I was laying in my bed one day, or that following late afternoon, and I heard a voice, and then it was the weirdest experience of my life. I literally got visited by, this sounds so weird, you're going to think I'm crazy, but I literally got visited by Archangel Gabriel, and he came up on me, and he called me by my heavenly name, which I've been trying to remember, but I remember asking him, because I remember him calling me out on it, and I was just like, that's me. That's my name. for the first time, I felt like I had an identity. It was the weirdest thing. And then I asked him, will I remember this name? And he's like, it's not the time yet. You will not. And then he's like, you're on the right path. Keep searching. And so I kept, so I'm like, okay. And then that was that. So one day I just announced it in front of people at a meeting.
And they thought that you were crazy.
No, these were people that were like, you know, it was different interfaiths. I said, if you have a God, I want to meet this God. And so this is when I went through a journey of going through Hinduism, Buddhism, Kabbalah, Scientology, everything. And nothing happened. Nothing. So for a while there, I was just like, okay, there is no God. It's all just fabricated. And then one day, a friend of mine approached me and said, I heard you were looking for a God. I'm like, well, yeah, I need one. I think for some reason I just felt like I needed a God. And he's like, well, why don't you come to my church? And he's like, and I'm like, what kind of church is it? He's like, it's a Christian church. I'm like, oh, I tried that. Because I did. I went through like 3 Christian churches and none of them felt right for me. And he's like, no, this one's different. I'm like, well, how is it different? He's like, well, because my pastor is a rabbi. I'm like, a rabbi? Pastor? He's like, yeah, he's a Messianic Jew. I'm like, okay, that's different. Why not? So I walk into this church called the San Malibu Fellowship in Malibu. It's in an elementary school in the auditorium. It's not that big. It's only like 150 people. And all of a sudden, I just walk in and everyone's singing praises. That's funny that you had that dream of singing. And I walk in and I'm just like, oh God, I'm in an insane asylum because people are dancing and singing and praising this Lord. And I'm just like, oh bloody hell, what have I gotten myself into? And of course my friend sits me at the very front of the pew and I'm just sitting there and everyone's standing up singing and dancing and I'm waiting and dreading, going, please be over soon. Nothing. It's like a half hour later, they're still singing and praising the Lord. I'm like, oh, bloody hell. And finally, the worship leader, Stephen, I think the worship band is called Circle Sight, Stephen goes, okay, just open your hearts up and we're going to sing and let the Holy Spirit enter. And so they sang the song called Holy Spirit Come. I don't know what happened. I can't even explain it to you, but seriously, something hit me so hard that it just, when they sang that song, something went into my heart and just like tore it apart, and I just could not stop crying, like crying with snot coming out of my nose and just makeup running, because, you know, I was all made up, prissy and what have you, and I was broken, completely broken. I was just so torn, and I was crying like crazy, could not stop. I was so embarrassed because I looked like crap, because I'm like, you know, I've never cried that much. Literally, I've never cried that much. And especially in public, I do not cry in public. So that was just, I was just so broken. And I couldn't leave my seat. I wanted to run. I couldn't leave my seat. Something was holding me onto my seat. And I was just a mess. And then Rabbi Jason, this pastor, Rabbi Jason Sobel, went up and he was talking about, because it was the day of Tashlish, which is a Jewish holiday. This was in September 2013. He was talking about, you know, Tashlish means getting rid of the old, throwing out the old to bring in the new. And I couldn't stop crying then. And then, of course, at the end, they say, if you need a blessing, a prayer, go to the ministry on the side. They'll pray for you. So I go up, and this guy named Vincent, he asked me my name. I give him my name. That's all he knows. And he starts praying for me. He starts giving me words of knowledge and gives me so much stuff that I'm just like, I just break even more and I start crying. And it's like, these people didn't know me, but yet they knew me. It was the weirdest thing. And I just could not stop crying. I could not stop crying. And finally, I shared with Vincent my dreams, because before that I was having dreams about going to Israel, getting baptized in the Jordan River, and I thought that's where I would find God or whatever. I've been in this weird journey throughout my whole life trying to prove that there was no God. And said, it came full circle where I realized there is. It's the strangest thing. And he's like, oh, well, we're going to Israel in November, and we're baptizing people in the Jordan River if you want to attend. I'm like, you're kidding me. And he's like, yeah. He's like, it's going to be November 8th, da-da-da-da. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know if it's supposed to be that late. For some reason, something, and I told him about my dream about the angel and da-da-da. And he's like, and I said, for some reason, I feel like I'm supposed to get baptized sooner than that. He's like, well, today, which is the day of Tashlish, which they only baptize like twice a year, which is one is on Tashlish, we're baptizing people at Westwood Beach in Malibu. I'm like, okay. And so he's like, let's go talk to Shifra, the head minister. And she's like, well, you need to know more about baptism, what it means. And Vincent raises his hand like, I'll talk to her and tell her. And so for 3 hours, he explains to me about it, blah, blah. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I wasn't feeling it. So I was like, well, let me think about it. So I go home. I'm kind of like drained from crying so much. And I just lay down to like take a nap. Literally 5 minutes later, as I'm laying down, something pushes me out of my bed onto the floor and says, go get baptized. It freaked me out. Freaked me out. So I call Shifra, the head minister, and go, Shifra, you won't believe this, but something literally just pushed me out of my bed and said I need to get baptized. She starts laughing. She's like, come on down. So I go down to the beach and I get baptized the same day I go to church. It was the weirdest thing. The weirdest thing. And then that night, of course, that's the first time I actually met the Lord, and that was so powerful. And then 3 weeks later, I go off on my first missions trip to the Philippines with the church. And I was gone for a whole month. And I was worried. I was like, why am I going a month? I have all these responsibilities and I'm going away for a month. It was crazy. It was so miraculous. Because while I was gone, everything was taken care of. I don't know how. It was the weirdest thing. I don't know how I even got there. I didn't even pay for the trip. It was the weirdest. To me, it was God's plan.
Yes, some people are just lucky.
I don't know if it's lucky. I just think I was just searching. Because it does say, seek and thou shalt find. And I was seeking. Like, I was seeking to the point where at the end of it, I was like, okay, if there isn't any, there's no purpose in this life. And why am I trying so hard to be so good or be living or whatever it is? You know, it's like, we all need a purpose. We all need, there's the three most important things are faith, hope, and above it is love. Without those three things, life is meaningless. You know? And they all work together. And hope and love is the most important. So it's love for your fellow man, love for your family, love for yourself, love for your spouse. It's so important.
No, I agree. And, you know, for the most part, I am Jewish. But I don't label myself as being Jewish. You know, like, I do celebrate the holidays. I respect my parents, but, you know...
So you know Tashlish, then?
Heard of it, but have no idea what it is.
How do I know more than you, and you're Jewish, my dear? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's what I get mostly. People are like, oh, do you do this holiday? Do you go that holiday? It's like, no. But how exactly are you Jewish if you don't...
I'm kidding. You're Jewish because by birth. I get it. No, but I actually celebrated my second Seder dinner on Passover. It was lovely. I really I have such a huge affinity for the Jewish culture. I don't know why. I do. I have such a huge affinity for it. It's the strangest thing to me. I don't understand it, but for some reason I'm so connected to it.
Yeah, maybe for the next Jewish holiday, maybe we can hang out if you want.
Where do you live?
Near New York.
New York? I'm in Los Angeles.
Like, you know...
That might be cool. No, but I'm actually... You know, Passover landed on my birthday this year.
Oh, that's really nice.
Of April. So it was very interesting. I was like, and the blood moon happened that night. It was so beautiful. I stayed up all night watching it. It was crazy.
Did you take any pictures?
It was such an amazing birthday.
Did you ever take any pictures, or?
Yeah, I took some. I posted them on Facebook. It was just a beautiful evening. It was a great, just the whole day. And then I celebrated Purim with my church. We had a Purim party. You know, the Book of Esther. You know that book, right?
I heard of it.
And it was just so beautiful. And for some reason, I relate to Esther. And it's been given word to me. I don't know. It's weird. Queen Esther. She was such an interesting woman.
All right. Well, you mind if we go on to another chapter, or you want to stay on this chapter?
No, we can go to another chapter. Sorry, I got carried away, but you asked.
No, it's fine. You have as much time as you want, so I just wanted to know.
Yeah, no. What else would you like to know? That's very much about me now. I can't say I'm religious. I'm more of a follower, and like I said, doers are better than, because to me, I think the Lord wants us to be more of doers, more of followers, not just believers. He wants us to spread His word. He wants us to let people know that they are loved, that they're not alone, because there's so many lonely people out there. So many. It's so sad.
No, it's true. And you know, I was a part of Temple when I was about 5, 6, and over the years they wanted $600, then they wanted $1,000, then they wanted $20,000. Then I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna pay to go to a place and
to go
pray.
To church, right. But again, church is not about a building. It's about.
Oh, that's not church. That's temple.
Yeah, but even then, it's like you shouldn't have to pay to worship the Lord. Does that make sense? It's like you can worship Him even in your own room.
Yeah, that's true. It's all about, well, what's your opinion on this? Do you think it's all about money?
No, well, I don't think it's all about money. I think that religious organizations do need help from their parishioners to be able to continue to have a place of worship. But if you can't afford it, then they shouldn't force it upon you.
All right.
Does that make sense?
No, I agree. Now, the next subject...
You should just be able to go without having to feel like you owe them something. You just should go just because you are there for the Lord, not for the people.
That's true. Our next subject I was going to ask you is about, what can you tell me about your high school history? Did you enjoy high school? Did you hate high school?
There was a part of my time in high school where I was there, like, as a, I guess, sophomore. It's 10th grade sophomore.
Yes.
Yeah, so sophomore, I was so picked on. So I was bullied. And then finally I got out. And then I became homeschooled.
All right.
So I was homeschooled most of my high school life. I didn't get to go to prom. I didn't get to do the whole high school thing. I mean, I did get to do cheerleading in middle school, but in high school I didn't. Which is weird, because I was a cheerleader in middle school, but then in high school, for some reason, the girls, that's the difference was I moved and I went to a different school, so I wasn't so popular anymore. It happens, you know. Yeah. And I kind of became such an introvert where I was too much of an intellect where, you know, I love to read. It's weird. I hate saying it, but I am an intellect. I like to read. I love philosophy. I love poetry. I love books. And a lot of people in high school, especially cheerleaders and the popular kids, at least during my time in high school, they were not into that. They were into more just dating and who's doing what and, you know, all the other nonsense that children that age get caught up in.
No, I agree. What about your college years? Were you a study nerd, party animal?
I did theatre school. I went to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts in London. So that to me that wasn't really school, it was more fun. Because I love theater, I love plays. I'm an actress, so of course. So I didn't mind the work because it's what I love. That's why I say when you find something you're passionate about, it's not a work. It's a vocation and it's a passion. And when you have that, then it doesn't feel tedious.
All right.
You know?
No,
so I got lucky.
Well, you brought up two subjects I was going to talk to you about. Well, I was going to mention how did you get in acting, but before that, I was going to ask, did you do any sports? Did you ever win any trophies?
I used to be a gymnast. I got really high up to a point where I almost made it into training for the Olympics, but I got into a major accident, which then my mom pulled me away because she's like, no more. She got scared. So yeah, I was a gymnast. I did track and field. I was more of a fast, short distance runner, like 100-yard dash, 50-yard dash. That I was just a fast child, and long jump. I was like a frog, I guess.
Did he ever get the chance to do one of those human pyramids, or never got a chance to do one?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I was small when I was younger, I was always at the top part. I was never really the bottom because I was too weak to hold up everybody else.
It's funny, I always wanted to do one, but never got the chance to do one.
Maybe you should.
Maybe if you're interested, maybe you can help me out.
You're so funny. Yes, I'll just beam myself over to New York and teach you about that.
Maybe. Now, we mentioned he got into acting. How did he get into acting?
Oh gosh, I've always wanted to be a performer. I think it was when I was born. I really loved performing. Yeah. I don't know how I got into it other than I was in New York. I used to live in New York, and I got discovered as a model first. And in modeling, that's when acting became more talked about. And so I started taking acting classes in New York at the School for Film and Television, the Meisner School. And I was 17. And I remember my modeling career got in the way, and that my professor at the school said, we're not welcoming you back for the next year because you're not focused. And they're like, we told you cannot do any other work, you have to focus on just studying. And I told them, well, if you would pay for my school, then I won't model and I'll stay here and do these classes. But what's paying for these classes is my modeling career. So I don't have parents. I'm living by myself here in New York. What do you want me to do? And so I had an argument with the professor, but he was just too tough. And so I was like, okay, fine. So I never went back after that. But it was always in the back of my mind, like, I really would love to be an actress. I enjoyed it. I got the bug once I took that class where I was just like, it was a sense of freedom, a sense of expression, a sense of release of what's going on in me, to be able to express it through characters, which was lovely. It was, I guess in a way it was therapeutic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Now,
yeah, I guess it was, especially as a teenager alone in New York. That was therapeutic for me. So I really longed for it, but I didn't do anything with my acting until I was about 18 and a half, and then I was in London, and I got accepted into the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts, and that changed my life forever. And I gave up modeling for a couple of years to focus, and that was the most amazing experience of my life. Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts just changed my life and made me have such an appreciation and such a love and a passion for acting and theater and film and television and just the whole art of it all, the performance art of it all. It's beautiful, and I saw some amazing, amazing plays all over London, in the West End, down Soho. area. Just, I've had such a great time. I miss it, actually.
Well, do you think you're at the part of your life where you can like teach other people your experience, or you don't think you're at that point?
I don't think I'm much of a teacher. I don't know. I'm afraid to be a teacher because I don't think I'm a very good teacher because my patience is not very good with teaching. So I don't know if I could teach. I know I could teach. Do I like to or want to? No. I just don't have the patience. I commend teachers because it's a hard job. I could never do it. I just couldn't. You're dealing with different personalities, and you have to be very patient with each and every single one of them. Sometimes I get frustrated and I blow up, so I don't want to do that. Especially with kids.
All right. Well, wrapping up
completely honest.
Well, wrapping up, do you have any subjects you would like to talk about before wrapping up, or you have anything you want to say?
Just continue to pursue your dreams. Continue to be who you are. Be proud of who you are. Don't let anyone deter what God created, which is you. And you are uniquely who you are. You are an individual. You have certain gifts that you need to tap into and to share with the rest of the world. And that once you find that and once you do that, then you're doing your purpose, your life purpose on this planet.